call the regular meeting of council of Monday, November the 10th to order. There is a agenda there in front of you. Can I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda? Councilors Cunningham and Nish. Any items to add? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. I'll note that Councilor Skelton Morven is joining us remotely this evening. We have a presentation coming up from the Chief Financial Officer with regards to the City of Prince Rupert's 2026 proposed budget.
Thank you. I will just get it set up. Whoops. There we go. Okay, let's start that over. All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the public, and fellow colleagues. Today's council meeting will include the first public consultation opportunity for the 2026 budget. In anticipation of this public feedback opportunity, our presentation agenda today will include a brief summary of the highlights and impacts of the proposed budget. It will include an overview of the significant capital projects we are undertaking, and we will outline the timeline for continued public feedback prior to budget direction from Council in December. More detail is available in our budget document located at City Hall and online through the city's website. First, we thought we would remind the public of what our responsibilities are. The Canadian government landscape can be broken down to three distinct levels. The federal level is responsible for national defense and protective services, international relations, economic management such as money supply and growth, national services such as lands and oceans management, and maintaining law and order. The provincial level is responsible for health care, provincial lands and natural resources management, education, transportation, social services, and oversight of local governments. The local government level includes us. We are responsible for services created and managed by our municipality, which include water and sewer distribution, protective services, land use planning, transit, cemetery and bylaw management, solid waste collection and disposal, roads and sidewalks, recreation and parks, and our very own airport ferry service to access our island airport. The city pays for these services through three self-funded utility funds and an operating fund. Each utility has fees that pay for its function and capital infrastructure. The operating fund is funded through grants, leases, fees, and property tax. Operating pays for things like security services, recreation, and roads, amongst others. Property taxes do not pay for utilities, and likewise, utility fees do not pay for operating fund functions. Some of the highlights and changes in this year's budget are provision for contractual increases, both internal and external to municipal control, recognition of inflation changes, and continued capital works in the areas of solid waste, sewer, water, and waterfront renewal. As for operations specifically, after taking into consideration all fees and charges increases, known operating grants and interest on investments, our projected operating deficit for the general fund is $960,000. The drivers include contractual obligations for wages and benefits for staff and external service contracts for transit and the RCMP, making up $745,000 of the $960,000 deficit. The remaining cost drivers include inflation associated with energy and supplies, increases to the library and community enhancement grants, and a debt repayment for the new fire pumper truck acquired in 2025. The anticipated result of this deficit results in an approximate 3.7% tax increase based on 2025 BC assessment values. We will know what the 2026 assessment values are this upcoming spring, which will help us provide more certainty on this proposed increase. The budget deficit does not include certain community enhancement cash grants requested, nor an increase to a grant under agreement with the Gulf Society. Council can consider to include them in the budget, understanding that they would present an additional increase. The exact increases requested are included on page 78 of the budget document referenced at the beginning of this presentation and have been broken out specifically on this slide, along with the individual tax increase associated with each cash request. Staff have budgeted retaining the same cash grants as in 2025 and have only increased the in-kind grants. We have proposed nearly $148 million in capital projects for budget 2026. This amount will be reduced in part given some of the amount includes projects approved in 2025, which we anticipate will be carried over into budget 2026. However, the final amount in the budget will be in excess of $100 million, with a significant portion being allocated to the big project. $77 million of the total, so more than half. The big project uses significant grant funding and city contributed debt financing to replace high-risk water and sewer lines identified in an infrastructure replacement study. The goal is to replace nearly 26 kilometers of city underground pipes over the next 3 years. This project started in 2024. The water pipes need to be fixed, so our upcoming water treatment project is not oversized at a substantially higher construction and operational cost. Aside from the big project, the city is proposing to continue the approved work on replacing the submarine line that carries our water beneath the harbor from its 2 lake sources, continue the Park Avenue mandated wastewater treatment project, and adds an Amanika wastewater project. Beginning the mandated landfill leachate treatment system to improve the quality of water discharged into the ocean, complete the public works facility, redevelop our waterfront, continue efforts to improve water quality as we design a triple barrier water treatment plant, and conduct capital maintenance on the 2nd Avenue Bridge, amongst other projects. Mentioned previously, projects like the big projects see the city using significant funding from grants. In fact, 57% of the revenues in 2026 come from conditional grants. This graph is an indicator of just how successful the city has been in securing outside funding for major capital projects. However, it is likely temporary. Once the big project is complete, this proportion of funding will be reduced. The city is a founding member of the Northwest Regional Benefits Alliance, comprising 18 municipalities and 3 regional districts along the Highway 16 corridor from Haida Gwaii to Vanderhoof. Efforts since the alliance was formed in 2014 resulted in the province agreeing to provide funding for a period of 5 years to address essential community infrastructure. Prince Rupert's annual funding from 2024 through 2028 is $6.86 million annually. This funding is included in the 57% of senior government funding mentioned on the previous slide. Projects proposed to be funded in 2026 by the Northwest BC Regional Funding Agreement have been noted throughout the budget document, and of the new projects and carry forward projects, those funded from the RBA are necessary recreation improvements of $415,000 for items such as filtration equipment replacement and exterior improvements at the pool and ice rink resurfacing. Parks improvements of $170,000, including resurfacing at Mariners Park. $1.7 million towards the aforementioned 2nd Avenue Bridge. A $2.5 million contribution towards the replacement of the Public Works building. $1.3 million towards the mandatory landfill upgrade. $1.4 million towards the liquid waste treatment pilot project, and $3.4 million towards the replacement of the submarine water line that transmits water from our water reservoir on the mainland. As in years past, one of the city's wholly owned corporations, Prince Rupert Legacy, is providing dividends which will be utilized to offset capital project costs that would either be funded through taxes or utility fee increases. This year, the anticipated property tax savings is 5%, and water fee savings are nearly 42%. We know some people are unsure of what Legacy is and why we are using dividends from the company to pay for capital items instead of lower operational costs. For one, as this slide shows, Legacy's contribution indeed has eliminated the possibility of a larger tax and water fee increase than already proposed. Second, we don't want our budget to be impacted by uncertain operating revenues. We have created the following video that we hope will explain these points. Sorry. Let's see if we can get that back. I'm trying to move this. Let's see if we can play it again. As noted earlier, the budget document is available online and at City Hall at the customer service desk. Staff presentations are also available online. Tonight and November 24th is an opportunity for in-person public feedback during the regular council meeting, as is a casual opportunity with directors on November 13th between 5 and 6 p.m. at the Raven Youth Lounge at the Recreation Complex. We will still accept feedback up to and including November 25th by email, phone, mail, or drop-off at City Hall. Email and phone information is on this slide. Feedback can also be provided through our budget simulator, which is available for use now and will be open through this Friday, November 14th. The simulation can be accessed through our website and on our Facebook page. Results of submissions are provided to Council for consideration, as is interaction data indicating areas of public interest. After finalizing the public feedback period, Council will be asked for direction to prepare the 5-year financial plan in advance of the new year to enable staff to proceed with procurement while we await the final BC assessment values to come in at the end of March. The 5-year financial plan will then be updated after receipt of this piece of critical information, and the final tax increase will be calculated for Council to consider in April 2026. And this concludes our recap presentation.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We now have an opportunity for any member of the public that wants to come forward and speak to anything that's either been included in this presentation or on the agenda for this evening's meeting. No big rush to the microphone, so I will move on. There is a consent agenda there. Can I have a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda? Councillor Cunningham and Niche. I'll just go through real quickly what's there. There's the minutes of the special meeting to close October 27th, minutes of the Committee of the Whole, October 27th, minutes of the regular meeting of October 27th. There are reports, 3 of them. There's a report from the fire chief, the monthly fire report for October, chief financial officer report for August, the financial variance report, which I'll tell you says that everything is on track. There's a memo from the Director of Operations with regards to the PFAS drinking water analytical results. And that was, you'll recall that there was a presentation from a member of the public with concerns to plastic substances, basically, in drinking water. This is just putting forward the drinking water samples were collected August 13th. They're collected annually for this specific purpose from 8 system locations were analyzed for PFAS. Testing was coordinated through Northern Labs, and basically it comes back that those parameters were below detection levels, so they couldn't even be detected, remain well under the maximum acceptable concentrations for Canadian drinking water. There is a correspondence for receipt with a response to council inquiries, and I'll just note that the inquiry specifically was whether Halloween Fest, whether there's a noticeable connection between a drop in RCMP activity around Halloween and Halloween Fest, and in fact it found that was not the case. There's a correspondence for receipt, response to, there's correspondence for approval, the proclamation of November as Adoption and Permanency Awareness Month. The recommendation is that the consent agenda be approved or received as requested. We've had a mover and a seconder. Did anybody want to draw a highlight? Councillor Cunningham? No. Councillor Forster.
Thank you. Just going back to the drinking water request, this is part of the public record now.
Yes.
Is there anything that would prevent us from putting statistics like this on the website for people to look up?
CAO Pucci.
I'll defer that to Director Schmidt.
Director Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the question. Right now, this will be included in our annual water report that's accessible. We could look at adding it to the website as well.
Yeah, good. Thank you. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have report from planning with regard to the official community plan amendment, bylaw number 3667 2025, and zoning bylaw amendment application bylaw number 3668, with a recommendation that council consider the official community plan amendment application bylaw number 3667 and zoning bylaw amendment number 3668. Can I have a motion, please, to that effect? Councillors Forrester and Adey. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have bylaws. We have the City of Prince Rupert Official Community Plan Bylaw Amendment, bylaw number 3667. Recommendation is that council consider third reading to the City of Prince Rupert Official Community Plan Amendment, bylaw number 3667, and that council consider City of Prince Rupert Official Community Plan Amendment, bylaw number 3667, in conjunction with its financial plan and any liquid waste management plan. Can I have a motion, please, to that effect? Councillors Forrester and Cunningham. I'll note, just for members of the public, this was part of a public hearing a little bit earlier this evening. There were no comments from the public, and staff indicated that there had been no other comments from the public with regards to this. It is specifically to rezone a very small parcel of land that if you were to go out the Ridley Island Road, and on the left-hand side as you're heading out past the landfill, there is an area of land that's been cleared substantially for a import logistics park a project that's jointly funded by the PRPA and Metlakatla. It is all appropriately zoned M2, except for this one very small strip, which is zone P1, and that's just what the activity the bylaw that we're considering here this evening will do. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have the City of Prince Rupert zoning bylaw amendment application number 3668, 2025. Recommendation is that council consider third reading to the City of Prince Rupert zoning bylaw amendment number 3668, 2025. Councilors Nish and Cunningham, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Council roundtable, any items you want to raise, Councilor Randawa?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some people ask me about the Second Avenue Bridge,
Yes.
like they closed for a few days now, and what's our plan and when they can start working and what's the timelines?
Absolutely. So, Director Schmidt, I'm going to go to you specifically. You know, there's flagging taking place there, but there's no construction taking place at the current time. Can you fill us into what's happening on Second Avenue Bridge?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During our review of the bridge, we were doing some testing just to make sure the bridge is still in good standing. The structural engineer uncovered some members that had some significant rot ongoing. During that review, it was recommended that we close the walking path immediately. With that, we immediately started design to remediate the bridge and get the design started. Right now, we're still working on that. Once there's an update from our designers, we'll share it along to council.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Randawa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Another question, people are inquiring, I don't know, some people already reached to city on the roundabout.
Yep.
So when we enter from McBride, there's a left turn only lane there. So some people confusing, they try to do shortcut if somebody already approach or no, but that's a little bit confusing with people.
So not at the 3rd and McBride intersection.
No, yeah,
but once you go into the roundabout,
the first lane, only left lane.
Yeah.
And it's just before the roundabout.
People want to turn before.
Yeah, some people are actually taking left.
Sorry. Yeah. CAO Pucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the question. We can relay that to the Ministry of Transportation. It's their controlled intersection, and we can see if they have any media releases or something that they can do for communications on that. We can get that to them tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah. You're supposed to go around the roundabout. That's why they call it a roundabout. Councilor 80.
Thank you. I have a couple of things. One is a question about the boil water advisory that we find ourselves under. I'm wondering, I understand the issue was related to a fault in terms of some of the work that was being done. I'm wondering about the projected duration that we might be under a boil water advisory for, and also whether in terms of actually testing the water, since we took that precaution, whether there has been any adverse testing that's resulted.
Director Schmidt.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Mayor. That is correct. It was due to an incorrect tie-in done. There's been no negative testing at this point, but due to the section that is isolated and not pressurized, there's the ability to have unsuitable results. So it's a precautionary boil water mandated by Northern Health. We're working on Northern Health right now to remedy the situation. Unfortunately, there's no timeline at this time.
Councilor 80.
Okay, thank you. I also had the pleasure of attending a Remembrance Day ceremony that was held at the high school today. I was called into work, so I had to be there, but I was glad I was there, as it turned out. I know that on the weekend there was an event recognizing Indigenous soldiers and their contributions to the war. And I know that on Tuesday we will engage in the more conventional community recognition to veterans in general. And I'd like to point out that the high school ceremony went to great lengths to blend both those things. There was a very strong presentation of the contributions and meaning of Indigenous soldiers who made the sacrifices involved in war, as well as understanding that it was also a broader social contribution by soldiers in general. So I just want to commend the organizers for taking that step to try to blend both those very important points.
Thank you. Anything else? If there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillor Randawa and Councillor Forster. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. The meeting is adjourned.